All right, this webinar is currently being recorded. Good afternoon. Thank you for being with us here today, and welcome to CTA Construction Talks. My name is Gurnell Turner, Senior Coordinator of Workforce Initiatives for the Diversity Programs Department at Chicago Transit Authority. Today is Monday, November 24th, 2025. Construction Talks are every fourth Mondays at noon, and here you are tuning in right with us. So thank you again for being here.
Thank you for having us.
So for our November talk today, here are the details. Today's topic is going to be apprenticeship pathways, how to become a union apprentice. Again, I am your facilitator, Gurnell Turner. My information is there on the screen if you want to take note of that. Our guest speakers for today, we have the wonderful Jamila Muhammad with us. She is the Director of Education to Careers for Construction Industry Service Corporation, otherwise known as Cisco. And we also have Irma Holloway with us. She is the Executive Director of Black Contractors, Owners, and Executives, otherwise known as BCO. If you have questions and answers, we will be doing a question and answer session via chat. Questions can be answered anytime during the chat, and answers will be provided after the speaker talk. Our upcoming workforce events and how to stay connected with us is also going to be shared after the talk. All right, so before we jump into today's topic, for those of you joining us for the first time, you may be wondering, what are construction talks? Well, construction talks are a virtual hour-long monthly webinar to engage prime construction contractors, subcontractors, building trades, skilled workers, community groups, youth, and anyone or any institution interested and invested in careers in construction. The construction industry is an in-demand industry in the Midwest, which means there are an abundant job opportunities and steady employment for skilled workers. There is a growing need for training programs and apprenticeships to prepare new workers, and contractors, suppliers, and investors can expect strong demand and profitable projects in the foreseeable future. Construction Talks is designed for key stakeholders from these groups to engage in meaningful conversation that provide a valuable platform, bringing together job seekers, contractors, workforce organizations, labor partners, community groups, and public agencies to strengthen understanding, collaboration, and access to opportunities within the construction industry. Our purpose for hosting Construction Talks is to educate and engage stakeholders about construction careers, deepen stakeholder understanding of CTA workforce initiatives, and inspire participation in the industry through monthly virtual webinars. Construction Talks will be held on the fourth Monday of each month at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, unless otherwise indicated. You may be thinking, why does CTA care so much about people going into construction? Well, it's because CTA is committed to leveraging our capital investments to create opportunities for low-income workers, apprentices, and residents of economically disadvantaged areas. As the CTA continues to enhance the quality of public transportation services, the need for a construction workforce pipeline remains evident. CTA's Construction Talks is a workforce initiative that is a part of our process flow. Our team collaborates with building trades, construction contractors, our workforce partner agencies, and various other community groups and residents in order to monitor workforce goals on CTA construction contracts and provide construction contractors with skilled labor to build and improve Chicago's transit infrastructure. Our team works with these stakeholders to, one, inform the public of job openings on CTA construction projects at various outreach events. Two, provide access to training for skill improvement and to personalized career coaching through collaboration with our workforce partners. Three, connect our contractors to residents, community groups, and other stakeholders that can provide skilled labor talent. And four, collaborate with building trades to increase awareness of apprenticeships and advocate for construction career pathways. So if you're wondering where Construction Talks fits in the scheme of things, and in our work with various stakeholder groups, you can see right there on the screen, Construction Talks is a part of how we communicate with community groups and residents, as well as our other vested stakeholders. All right. Now, jumping into our topic today, what are union apprenticeships? Okay, so for those of you who could benefit from a thorough definition and understanding of this, union apprenticeship pathways in construction are structured programs that combine paid on-the-job training with related classroom instruction to prepare individuals for careers in the construction industry. These programs are designed to equip participants with technical, safety, and professional skills necessary to work in trades such as carpentry, electrical, plumbing, masonry, HVAC, and other construction specialties. And by all means, experts on the call, Jamila, Irma, jump in at any time if you have anything to contribute to what are union apprenticeships. Union apprenticeships are typically developed in collaboration with labor unions, contractors, and/or labor management firms to ensure training aligns with industry standards and workforce needs. A typical union apprenticeship begins with recruitment and application, which may then be followed by placement with a sponsoring contractor or other construction contractor. Apprentice work under the supervision of experienced journey workers while completing classroom-based instruction covering technical knowledge, safety protocols, and some soft skills. Upon completion, apprentices earn a portable, nationally recognized credential that often qualifies them for journey worker status, higher wages, and additional career advancement opportunities at the end of the apprenticeship period. Research demonstrates that construction apprenticeship pathways benefit both workers and employers. Apprentices achieve higher wages and long-term employment retention compared to peers in non-apprenticeship training programs, while employers gain access to a skilled, reliable workforce, helping address labor shortages in high-demand trades. These programs also promote equity and inclusion, expanding access to sustainable wage construction careers for traditionally disenfranchised communities. So that was a mouthful, but I'm going to transition our conversation now into a comparison between pre-apprenticeships and union apprenticeships. Now that we know the benefits of union apprenticeships, let's take a moment to distinguish the difference between construction pre-apprenticeships and union apprenticeships. And you'll know soon why this is so important. Understanding the difference between pre-apprenticeships and apprenticeships is important because it helps individuals choose the right program for their skill level, prepare effectively for entry, and maximize their career growth and earning potential in the construction industry. Construction pre-apprenticeships and union apprenticeships are related, but serve different roles in workforce development. Pre-apprenticeship programs are short-term, entry-level training initiatives designed to prepare participants with the foundational skills, safety knowledge, and workplace readiness needed to qualify for a formal union apprenticeship program, not necessarily for direct entry into a career. They often focus on basic construction techniques, soft skills, and exposure to various trade crafts. In contrast, union apprenticeships are formal, multi-year programs administered by labor unions or employer partnerships that combine paid on-the-job training with structured classroom instruction. Union apprenticeships lead to nationally recognized credentials, as stated earlier, higher wages, and long-term career advancement, and access to public infrastructure or government-funded jobs. Whereas pre-apprenticeships primarily serve as a stepping stone to help participants meet the requirements and succeed in registering for union apprenticeship programs. CTA pre-apprenticeship and placement partners are in place to provide navigation for connecting pre-apprenticeship graduates to union apprenticeships, therefore making them eligible for public infrastructure or government-funded jobs in construction. All right. So now we're going to transition into the talk phase of our session today. And it is my pleasure to introduce to you the Education to Careers Director for the Construction Industry Service Corporation, otherwise known as Cisco. In this role, she delivers vital career information about building trades and their apprenticeship programs to students and adults across schools, community colleges, faith based organizations, community groups, and other educational settings. Miss Jamila Muhammad. I'm going to give you a hand clap, Miss Jamila.
Yay!
Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, everybody. It's a pleasure to be with you today.
For sure. Jamila, you know, we've been talking about construction talks for at least 2 years and trying to get this whole thing back on board. So I was telling other folks that when I designed this particular talk, I definitely had you in mind for our guest speaker. So it is such a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Also, we have the Executive Director of Black Contractors, Owners, and Executives, otherwise known as BCO, and a business owner and COO for Phoenix CCI, a licensed, certified, and union general contracting and supply firm with over 15 years of experience in the industry. And she also serves as a member of CTA's Diversity Business Enterprise Advisory Council, Miss Irma Holloway.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
So glad you can be here with us today, Irma.
Absolutely.
Now, I'm going to jump right into my questions for Jamila, and then after that, I'll have questions for you, Irma. But by all means, this is intended to be conversational. So if you have anything to input, Irma, while we're having our portion of questions for Jamila, feel free to do so, and vice versa.
Okay.
All right. First question for Jamila. You ready?
I'm ready.
Right. Cisco plays a major role in promoting and coordinating union apprenticeship opportunities across the region. How can job seekers use resources from organizations like Cisco to identify, research, and apply for apprenticeship programs that will prepare them for jobs on transportation projects such as those with CTA?
All right. So job seekers can use Cisco as a starting point to explore union apprenticeship programs across the region through when you go to cisco.org and you click on apprenticeship info. And then if you select apprenticeship guide, it'll pull up a digital guidebook that goes through all 27 different union trades. It'll tell you exactly what that trade does, how long their apprenticeship is, the requirements for getting in, contact names, phone numbers, as well as their addresses. Now, also, every trade does something a little bit differently. So, some are open all year round, some open up periodically. So, if you also go to cisco.org, click apprenticeship info, and then you select apprenticeship opportunities, it'll give you a list of all of the trades that's open right now and accepting applications and how to apply for that specific trade. While Cisco does not place applicants into the program, it provides the education and connections needed for individuals to confidently reach out to the appropriate training center and apply when applications are open.
All right. Well, thank you so much for that very detailed response. I myself have used the Cisco website to find information about various building trades and when their applications will be open. I also follow Cisco on social media handles like LinkedIn as well as Instagram. I love the little snapshots that you guys always provide that give you all the information you need really concisely. What union it is, when they're having the event or when the application period is open, and then how to connect with them. So thank you so much for being such an impactful part of how that information is shared with the general public, Jamila.
Thank you.
All right. Cisco often highlights the importance of hands-on learning paired with classroom instruction in its outreach efforts. The Education to Careers framework, your work. What does this balance typically look like within the apprenticeship program, and what technical or soft skills do participants gain through this model?
So the apprenticeships balance real world on-the-job training with structured classroom instruction. On the job site, apprentices learn practical skills, safety procedures, and trade-specific techniques under the guidance of apprentice experienced journey workers. In the classroom, they study theory, codes, math, technical standards, and this model builds both strong technical ability and essential soft skills like communication, showing up on time, teamwork, reliability, problem solving, professionalism.
Yeah, what I really can appreciate about what you just described here is how in a structured union apprenticeship program, you're getting real world experience with current journey persons. That can be the case in a pre-apprenticeship program, but typically it's not. You get someone who's skilled and trained and able to show you basic fundamentals, but in a union apprenticeship, it's a real world setting, right? And you're actually working side by side with journey persons as if you would be on an actual construction job. And that's really important to CTA because in an apprenticeship setting on on a CTA project, that's exactly what the work will look like.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And as an apprentice, you're basically a student of that trade. You're under the tutelage of that journey person. So
Mhm.
having that hands-on experience and that guidance as you build out through your apprenticeship, which is 2 to 5 years, it's really imperative to the individual that's getting through their.
Yeah, and I want to emphasize that union apprentice, this is on the job training, paid on the job training. Whereas in a pre apprenticeship, you may not necessarily be getting paid for your actual hours of work. You may be receiving a stipend or some other type of financial supports from the organization or institution where you're receiving the pre apprenticeship training. But in a union apprenticeship, you are actually being paid a salary for the hours of work that you perform. So definitely an incentive for pre-apprenticeship graduates to want to matriculate over into a union apprentice and further their career in whatever craft it is that they have a passion for.
Exactly.
Right, moving right along. Cisco can be credited with doing great work in strengthening labor management partnerships. What insights can be drawn about what employers and union partners will be looking for in strong apprenticeship candidates, and how can applicants stand out in the selection process?
The earn while you learn model allows individuals to gain hands-on experience while receiving a steady paycheck. Benefits, the pensions, annuities, um, health insurance while you're in that apprenticeship program, and very high quality training, as you mentioned earlier. This removes the burden of student debt and allows participants to support themselves as they build their career. Now, I know that we didn't get into how much they typically make, but that's $18 to $26 an hour, depending on what trade you decide to go into. And these trades give you a raise every 6 months or every few hundred working hours, as long as you meet your on the job training hours as well as your classroom instruction. Once you finish that apprenticeship, you're making $45 to $56 an hour, with those benefits still being paid for by your employer, which is roughly about $90,000 to $120,000 a year. But these community-based organizations strengthen this pathway by providing mentorship, transportation assistance, time management support, financial education, and personal guidance that helps apprentices stay on track and complete their programs for retainment.
Wow. That was a loaded response. Thank you so much for providing all of that detail, Jamila, because there are some very real economic benefits to bring a union apprentice versus attempting to go directly into the workforce after a pre-apprenticeship program.
Mhm.
Thank you for that.
Mhm.
All right, final question for you, Jamila. With Cisco advocating for long-term career retention within the building trades, what type of advancement opportunities, such as journeyman status, specialized certifications, or leadership roles, become available to apprentices once they complete their program?
Ooh, okay.
Mhm.
So after completing an apprenticeship, individuals become journey people, earning higher wages, stronger benefits, and greater job stability. From there, opportunities expand into specialized certifications. Most of the trades they offer like night school or weekend classes where you can get more education and build up the different certificates, which makes you stand apart from other journey people who got the same education as you. Um, so these leadership roles, such as foreman or superintendent, teaching positions, safety management, or even business ownership, being a signatory contractor yourself, apprenticeships is just the beginning for learning long-term pathways with significant growth in leadership opportunities. I myself was a part-time instructor for the IBEW Local 134, and I started off as an apprentice. And in every aspect of my life, it has all come from me starting off as that apprentice, even me being here with you today.
Thank you, Jamila, for sharing your journey, your personal journey in the construction career industry. And it's definitely evident that you have the experience and the knowledge that you have based on all of your different accolades. I mean, in addition to being Director of Education to Careers for Cisco, you are a proud 14-year journey person, communications electrician, you're a delegate for Chicago Federation of Labor, Secretary Treasurer for the Illinois State Apprenticeship Committee and Conference, Chairman of the Apprenticeship Information Committee, and a board member for IBEW CFL Scholarship Committee. So, I mean, wow, like the list can just go on and on, I'm sure, but just that short list there shows how much you've been able to accomplish as a person in the construction industry, starting from apprenticeship. So thank you so much for all of your responses and for your contributions to this conversation. Your comment about how advancement in construction can also lead to business ownership is a perfect segue into the portion of the conversation that Irma can have with us. And I'm going to go ahead and jump right into questions for you, Irma, if you're ready.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. So BCO works to increase access, visibility, and contracting opportunities for Black-owned construction firms. How do apprenticeship pathways support this mission?
So for us, because first of all, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to sit with you guys today for your construction talks. I think it's these real talks that make the difference, right? And it helps our contractors and aspiring contractors to decide exactly where they want to be or where they need to be, and maybe even potentially assess where they're at. For us, being a part of, you know, these opportunities to advocate for our members is important. And it's important to us because we then become a mouthpiece for you, right? We become an advocate for you to actually get into, the opportunity to get into the unions or apprenticeships, and help you decide where you want to be. And for us, it's super important that we are in the rooms where the decisions are being made, where the opportunities are had, so that we can then better assist our members, right, or minority contractors alike, and deciding, hey, what's the best fit for me?
Yeah, I mean, simply put, contractors don't exist without having some sort of apprenticeship labor, right? They can't
Yep,
perform the work
yep,
without utilizing an apprentice or a former apprentice, right? Who may
yeah.
have matriculated into journey status. And what I'm so excited about your part of this conversation for is that individuals who just may have the lens of going into construction from a job seeker perspective, they get to understand through your contributions today how contractors have support systems behind them to make sure that they're getting steady projects, because steady projects mean steady work for apprentice and journey persons alike. So
Hmm.
I don't want to give away the rest of the conversation. So let me
Yeah,
just jump right into your
yeah,
second question here.
yeah.
BCO often engages with apprenticeship programs through partnerships, advocacy, and contractor support, as you mentioned. Can you share how BCO currently utilizes or collaborates with apprenticeship programs and what impact those relationships have on both contractors and prospective apprentices?
Sure. From a lower tier, Revolution Workshop is one of our favorites, right? And because we see real work being happening in real time, and real people, real families being helped, one person at a time. And so to me, when I can go to an apprenticeship program and I especially see people that look like me and you, right? It makes me feel a certain kind of way, like, okay, this is really creating impact, right? And so I think, them being a part and involved with them has helped a lot of people. We do a lot of career days. And so people are often asking us, students are often asking us, how do I start? Because everybody's not a college student, right? Everybody's not destined to graduate and matriculate to college. And so for us, establishing these relationships with people or organizations like Revolution Workshops, what has happened is that these people then can say, okay, let me give it a try. Let me give it a try. They do offer some monetary support and some other offerings, but let me see if this is really for me, right? So I always like that segue for the smaller tier. So, and it's impactful. On the second tier, going into us being in good relationships with Iron Workers Local 1, Carpenters Union 1, and Iron Workers 63 has been super important because they often call me and say, Irma, we have somebody that's interested. Can you help us to find a sponsor? Right? That's important because you can have all of the skill sets that you can get, right, and opportunities, but if you don't have somebody to say, I'll vouch for you, I'll take you for a few weeks and let me see what you can do, right? And if I can't help you, maybe somebody within the organization can, right? Which leads us into kind of like BCO, being a part of something that's bigger than yourself. So you have to be engaged. We have to be engaged from our perspective, BCO, right? We have to establish these relationships. And it's these relationships that allow us to help the people that we serve better. And so it's important to be engaged.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you mentioned Revolution Workshop. They are one of CTA's workforce partners, and
Mm-hmm.
it's so great to see how they're also folding into the industry with other entities that we're connected to, like
Mm-hmm.
BCO, right?
Mm-hmm.
So many great gems in that response, Irma. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, everything from being able to help various building trades to find sponsorship opportunities with certain contractors to the tier one relationships that you or the level one relationships that you discussed,
Mm-hmm.
all impactful work. And it just really shows how all the different moving parts in the construction world move together to support the apprentice and to make that pathway possible.
Right. Right. And as a contractor too, right? Coming into as a contractor, and maybe you're just doing, kitchens and baths or porches, right? Does that necessarily mean that you want to be a union contractor? I think it's these relationships that opens up the door to say, yeah, I really think that I want to make a career out of this. But having these opportunities, right? That tier one, that tier two can give you a real solid foundation to work from versus you being out there on your own, just trying to figure it out, right? When they took away trade schools, that was one of the worst things they could have did, in my opinion. You know what I mean? I can remember as a kid going to, and this dates me, right? Washburn Trade School. And I can remember back when I was like 13, 14 years old, and I'm thinking like, wow, this is awesome. You know what I mean? And then I realized it no longer existed. And I was like shocked. But that there left an impression. Not to mention, I come from a family of construction. My father owned a construction company for over 30 years, 10 brothers and myself. At that point, construction wasn't even on my radar. And neither did my father encourage any of his children to be in construction. We all knew the trade from a certain perspective. You know, my mother and I, invoices, payments, and lunch. Okay. My brothers, the contracting piece. But on the same token, that wasn't enough to make us decide, hey, is this for me or is it not? And my father, like I said, it was different back then, right? We didn't have the goals. We didn't have the mandates and things of that sort. So it was a little tough, right? It was a little tough. And his thing was, you go to college, you go to military. 8 went to the military, the rest of us went to college, and life goes on. But had I had that opportunity, maybe I would have found out that I wanted to do construction a little bit earlier, right? And not when I was 40.
Okay, that's such an interesting piece that
You
you
know?
brought into the fold there, Irma. And thank you so much for sharing your personal story as
Yeah.
well. But you are right. I remember when Chicago public school systems made the transition from pushing kids into the trades. We had a lot of different high schools that were specializing in the trades, and the school system as a whole decided to take a focus onto college. And a lot of those special technical programs helping young people get ready for the trades sort of went away. But now
Yeah.
you see the return of that. You see the
Yeah.
return of the investment into trades skills and skilled labor workforce. And that is something that we're very excited about at CTA. We know that the pipeline and the work is significant. And for me, my passion centers around it because it is a sustainable wage job opportunity with
Absolutely.
with little with a short amount of time of entry, right? The college pathway, and I love the college pathway. I'm a big advocate for the college pathway, always will be, but it takes time and it takes investment. And like you mentioned, it's not it's not the best fit for everyone, right? You
Everybody.
have a lot of great young people out there, young people and adults alike, who are talented and love working with their hands and want to be able to make a sustainable wage career out of something that they love, like anyone else, right? Who may be on the college pathway. So I'm really excited to be in the midst of the work around the investment in the trades, in skilled labor, and just to be here and be the facilitator of such an impactful conversation that hopefully may help someone navigate
Yeah.
and make some great decisions that's going to allow them to be a top earner one day, right, for their household. So great contributions here. Let's move along to your next question, Irma. Through advocacy and mentorship, BCO helps emerging contractors navigate barriers in the construction industry. From your perspective, how can apprenticeship serve as an entry point or a foundational step for individuals who may one day become business owners or industry leaders themselves? And you kind of touched on this a little bit just now, but if you could just expound upon that point, how is the work that BCO is doing? How does that impact individuals who may one day become business owners or leaders themselves in construction?
So I believe that it doesn't just lie on the trades, right, or the apprenticeship programs. It lies on the contractor or, aspiring contractor, right? To be honest and open so that we can meet you where you are, right? So that the apprenticeship programs can meet you where you are. Because there are a lot of programs that are out there but some of them aren't necessarily meeting people where they are. So I think it falls on both parties to be honest and open about where you are and what you aspire to be, because this is not a cookie cutter situation, right? Because you're an electrician, you could do, low voltage, right? Or you can, there's many facets to it, right? And finishing work, there's many facets to it. What is it that you want to specialize in? So to me, the way that they can help, that segue is for all parties really to be open and honest and have some real honest conversations. I feel like these conversations on Monday, right? These once a month conversations is a great platform for people to say, hey, if that's Charles on the line today and he's trying to figure out where I need to be, or should I go all in with the union or should I not? You know what I mean? It's about having those real conversations. Where are you? Where are you right now? And where you aspire to be. So they're great. I think they've done a great job of providing a platform for entry, both on the apprentice side, right? And now I'm hearing contractors say, Irma, what about the union? I'm afraid, I don't know if I'm ready. You know what I mean? And so I think that, for us, it's really about all parties being honest about where they are. And then we can, figure out, hey, what's the best fit? But I think everybody pretty much does a decent job of, hey, opening the door. But when you open that door, I just don't want them to say, we're going to promise you the sky and the moon. And then I don't have an end placement for you at the end of the day after your apprentice time, or the contractor saying, I want to be, a contractor, but you really only want to do this in your free time. You're not really all in with this thing. It's something you just like to do to make a little extra money, or, do it on the weekends or something like that, right? So I think we all have to do a better job of really being honest about where we are. But for the most part, being in these rooms are super important.
Yeah, I can totally agree with you. Open, honest, transparent, and authentic conversation is important in almost any aspect or any career industry, most especially with pre-apprenticeship programs, between pre-apprenticeship program trainees and providers and their client base, because that pre-apprenticeship program, it's not insignificant at all, but our training partners like Revolution Workshop, like Chicago Women in Trades, like Metropolitan Family Services, they are providing services to people who have to make those decisions, and they won't be able to get there without those open, honest conversations. Because like you said, each trade has a number of specialties under it, right? Electrical, maybe you're really good at conduit, maybe you're really good at, if it's masonry, maybe maybe you're really good at bricklaying, right? Like it's so many different facets that you can specialize in. And it takes for the participant to truly, thoroughly understand all of the different facets of the work, in order for them to be able to take on, how can I make this innovative for me in my career and in my life? And this same conversation and this same strategy, if you will, it's you can copy paste it across any industry. Right. In my experience, I help young people understand how to keep a fast food job. Right. When you go in there, learn it all. Learn drive-through, learn the front line, learn the fries, learn how to make the burgers, learn how to clean up, learn it all, right? Because that's what's going to make you valuable. And to your point, Arma, having those open, honest conversations from the point of pre-apprenticeship, letting your trainers understand how deep you may want to go. It's going to prepare that client for that next step, and having that next step conversation when they're speaking with a contractor that may be interested in sponsorship, when they're talking with someone who may have an opportunity for a business loan for them to start their own business, just anywhere across the industry, right? When they're working and collaborating with journey persons as an apprentice and they want opportunities on the next project, right? And they want that journey person to advocate for them, right? So being able to have those open, honest conversations is a really key point that I definitely wanted to underscore here just now, because a lot of people going into this pathway sometimes think that knowing the skill and having the credential is enough. It's not enough to just know the skill and have the credential. Similarly to the way having a degree is not enough, right? You have to also be able to have those open, honest conversations, know what you want, as you mentioned, Irma, and be able to communicate that effectively to the individuals that you come across in your industry and when you're networking and possibly talking about opportunities. Excellent point there, Irma. Thanks so much.
And I'm going to share another point, if I could, with you. Another personal story is that, so I've been in business for about over 20 years, and in the consulting and municipal aspect, and then construction, for over 20 years. For, I would say, 15 years of my career, I was not certified, right? However, I worked across the lanes, as an owner's rep, construction management, the whole 9 yards. Didn't have to be, right? But then when I started wanting to do work in Chicago, I realized I couldn't get any work without being certified. Now I had all the skill sets necessary, but didn't have that certification, right? And then I had to make a decision based on my level of work. Do I stay, as an independent contractor, or do I do union work, right? So that was a big jump for us, to become signatory to Ironworkers Local 163, Carpenters Union 1. That was a big jump and a big decision. But it was a decision that I had to make based on being honest with myself, how far I wanted to take this thing, where I really was, and what work I could really perform. You know what I mean? So it takes those real honest conversations, because then at that point, once I could make a real assessment, then I had other people that were willing to stand in the gap to say, yep, she does good work. She does good work. Her company does good work. And they knew what my sweet spot was, right? Sweet spot, $2 million. They knew that if you give her anything under that, she's going to knock it out the park, right? No need to give me nothing for $5 million at this point as an independent, because at that point I wasn't ready, right? But it takes those real conversations and real assessments. I can't stress it enough. And I think that has been a challenge, but I feel like BCO is really bridging that gap. Like they feel like they can come and like, okay, let me just go talk and we can work this thing through. So, yes.
That's great. I got one more question for you, Irma, but before you do, I see Jamila nodding her head yes on a lot of these points. So I just wanted to make sure that I gave you a chance to provide any contribution here, Jamila.
No, Irma is knocking everything out, and I'm loving this whole conversation. I'm just nodding in agreement.
Okay.
All right.
That's what's up. Teamwork.
Make the dream work.
There it is.
So last question for you, Irma.
Sure.
As BCO, and you kind of touched on this already. I mean, you're really just like knocking it out of the park and, really giving us some substance here with these responses. But as BCO continues to advocate for fair contracting opportunities and industry representation, how do you see apprenticeship pathways contributing to the long-term economic empowerment and generational wealth building within minority communities? I had to ask you that. I couldn't let you get off this talk without getting at the root of the mission of your work. So
there it is. There it is. With over $17 billion worth of work coming down the pipeline here in our region within the next 5 years, that means that there's a lot of work and there's a lot of opportunities. And I may be even selling that number a little bit short, but I can almost guarantee over $17 billion worth of work based on the seat that I sit in and the tables that I, sit, that's coming down the pipeline. And there is indeed a workforce shortage, right? And it's a workforce shortage based on the gaps that we talked about, where the trade schools, right? There was no bridge, right? And now that we're ramping it up, but we have a lot of opportunities that are still open. And so I think establishing these relationships, such as we have done, right, is going to be very impactful to the next generation of contractors, right? And the opportunities that are at large. Now, becoming a contractor and becoming a union contractor, man, it will make the difference in your life, right? Things that they make great money, right? No need to be, they make more money than some doctors, right? They make more money than, some upper tier managers, right? This is indeed an opportunity. And I believe that our relationships with these apprenticeship programs and pathway programs are going to make the difference. And for everybody that's on the call, again, I've said it earlier, it's about being a part of something bigger than yourself. You can try to, move this needle by yourself. You can try to get these opportunities by yourself. But I tell you something, when you have somebody that can go before you to open the door or say a good word, right? Or to give you some critical instruction, it's going to make the difference. And I guarantee not only will you, feel better about what you do, but you'll see it in your bank account, right? And I think that these contributions are going to create a great generational wealth, right? When I look at the Obama Center and different projects that our contractors are working on, it's legacy. We're creating legacy in this region like you've never seen before. When we get ready to start working on the Bears stadium, right, and Chicago Fire, right, and the Red Ahead, right, that's legacy. When you can look at that and you can take your children by those monumental projects and say, I worked on that project, or my team worked on that project. And not only did I work on it, but my daughter worked on it, my niece worked on it. That's impactful, and it's a legacy. And I think what you'll see here within the next 5 to 7 years will be something, Chicago will set the standard. I get a lot of calls across the nation, right, for contractors where they don't have enough electrical contractors, they don't have enough carpenters. And so we're setting the standard. And what I'm realizing is that nobody does it better than Chicago does. And so we're creating something great collectively.
I couldn't agree with you more, Irma. Thank you so much for your contributions to today's construction talks. You as well, Jamila. This has been such an engaging conversation. Everything that you need to know about why apprenticeship pathways are beneficial to you, construction apprenticeship pathways, here you have it, spoken from experts in the field, everything from education to careers, to minority contract owners and executives. I mean, you have it right there, all in a nice nutshell. So we're going to conclude today's construction talks. But first, I want to open it up to anyone who may have any questions. I'm going to allow our participants to talk if they have any questions. For some reason, I got a message that our chat was disabled. So if you tried to put some questions in the chat, I apologize for that. But everyone is allowed to speak if you have any questions.
In the chat, Everett wrote a comment. And did you want to read it for now?
For some reason, I'm not able to see it. But you can go ahead and read it if you can see it, Jamila.
It says, "Hi, Everett, new workforce coordinator. I just want to make a statement. Thank you all for your service and for sharing your knowledge. Participants, this is valuable knowledge, and it shows how CTA and our partners can help build wealth, create jobs, and empower Chicagoans with skills. Kudos, kudos, kudos. Thank you."
Awesome. Thank you so much for that comment, Everett. If there's no other questions for our panelists here today, I'm going to move right along and just let you guys know that our next construction talks is going to be on Monday, December 22nd at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. Our topic will be soft skills and job site readiness. So excited for that conversation. You can use the QR code on the screen to register for that talk now, and we'll have 2 more industry impactful guest speakers joining us on that call. They're actually trainers and leaders of pre-apprenticeship programming. So they're going to talk with us about soft skills and job site readiness. Super excited for that. And how to stay connected with us. For anyone who may need to know, you can check your email for upcoming CTA outreach events and construction talks. For job openings with CTA construction contractors, you can connect with Chicago Women in Trades, otherwise known as CWIT, and Hire 360. You can also visit our website, transitchicago.com/careers for CTA job openings, internships, and more. You can follow us on social media. For LinkedIn, you want to add us at Chicago Transit Authority, Facebook, Chicago Transit Authority as well, and Instagram is Chicago CTA. For questions about construction talks or any of our other outreach events, you can email us at workforceinitiatives@transitchicago.com. References from this talk are available upon request. If you want any information that you heard of here today, you can also email us at this email address, workforceinitiatives@transitchicago.com. Again, thank you all very much for choosing to be with us today. We hope to see you at next month's construction talks. We'll be talking about soft skills and job site readiness once again. And until then, stay safe and stay mobile and stay connected. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.